Now that we've added media, slides, and chapters to our chalkboard, perhaps you'll want to consider adding some checkpoints. Checkpoints are simply planned pause events that you build into the chalkboard experience to either create a paradigm shift or force the student to interact in some capacity with the chalkboard. To begin, you'll simply click the Manage Checkpoints link, and then you'll click the Add Checkpoint icon. Here you'll find there are 4 different types of checkpoints that you can create. There's a button checkpoint, which is much like a "Hey, are you there? Click OK to proceed" option. The password checkpoint forces the user to enter their password before they can proceed. Then you'll have true, false, and multiple choice question checkpoints. And here you can ask them a question, whether it's about the material or something else. You're going to ask them to answer the question to interact with the chalkboard. Regardless of which option you choose, when you select it, you'll enter the question value. On a button checkpoint here, you'll notice that you can change the button text. So if you wanted to say OK or yes or maybe, you can simply do that. But all of them will also have a timeout value. That's a forced interaction period where the student has to interact with the checkpoint in a select amount of time. You can certainly delete that and give them any amount of time that they need, but the timeout value gives you an option there to make sure the student's actually there and paying attention to the chalkboard experience. Here, let's enter a prompt. I'll ask, "Are you there?" And on the button text, I'll change it from OK to yes. Once we've done that, now we're going to choose what we want the checkpoint to do. So the first option here is, what would you like to happen if the student presses the button before the timeout expires? So here I'm going to say, "Good job." And I just want the chalkboard to autoplay, which means it's going to continue. The student doesn't have to press play to continue. Next, I'll choose, what would you like to happen if the student doesn't press the button before the timeout? If I wanted to display some feedback here, I could, and I can also choose my options of what I would like to happen. Either I could continue the chalkboard, I could reset the progress, or I could reset their progress and log them out of the system, or I could send them back to some period in time within the chalkboard. In this case, I'm going to choose to reset the chalkboard and log them out of the system. When I click Save, I've now created that checkpoint. So now you need to choose when that checkpoint should be displayed within the chalkboard. And much like when we added slides and when we added chapters, you have 2 ways to do that. You can simply enter the begin time. So if I wanted to enter that, let's say at 10 seconds, I could enter the begin time and click the Add Action button. And here you'll see it populates here on the timeline. Or if I went through the same process of play and pause, I could play until I'm ready to add that checkpoint. I could pause the system, and then the begin time would automatically be updated to reflect the time in which I paused, and then I could simply click the Add Action button to add the checkpoint to the timeline at that time.